Hi, I'm Brandon. I love Hulu Christmas movies.
I'm Dan, and I despise Hulu Christmas movies.
I'm Alonso, and Hulu, and this
is the Deck the Hallmark Podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast. Brandon and friends host his podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Well, hello, everybody. It's Monday again, if you can believe it. It's Monday. We only got a few more weeks of 2022 Christmas movies. I'm
Good. I know it's really hard. It's hard to see it go. I mean, we've watched so many great ones. Actually, we've watched my favorite one ever, so that probably is worth it, I guess.
It is.
Alonso, you took your entire bookshelf setup to Italy last week.
Yes.
How hard was it hauling all that back with you?
Well, customs gave me a hard time, and I'm like, dude, I didn't buy this in Europe. I brought it from home.
That's right.
I'm bringing it back home.
That's right. Yeah. And that's tough.
you just had to tell them it was for Philo.
That's right.
It was for the
Exactly.
consistency of people that watch you on Philo. You didn't want to throw them for a loop.
That's right.
And they were like, oh, Tammy Philo. Okay, great.
The Tammy Philo?
Tammy
Oh, my
Philo.
goodness.
Tammy Philo. A reminder, you can watch us on Philo, philo.tv/DTH. Plus, so many new Christmas movies are going to be coming out this holiday season. So go ahead and get a jump. Download Philo.
Unlimited
get that
DVR.
The DVR is just hanging around ready for you to save them, because it is tough to watch all of them in real time, I will say. But having them on the unlimited DVR makes it easy. It makes you feel good about knowing that you won't miss a single one. This was
Holiday Movie Hub, I believe.
I think I like that.
Yeah.
I like
Holiday
that a
Movie
lot.
Hub.
I like
You
that
get
a lot. Alonso, scale of 1 to 10. When you heard the title "Merry Christmas," how excited were you?
That's not the title of the movie. You want to try again?
What
Said
is it?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Kiss Cam.
Well, I've always said I don't like sports, but I do like sports movies. So I was open to it.
Okay,
Fair.
Merry Kiss Cam.
Merry Kiss.
Are you ready to dive into it?
Sure.
November
Let's do it.
24th, 2022 is when it premiered, and it went a little something like this. Jess is an artist who is in a bit of an artist block, having a tough time trying to get in the Christmas spirit while also finish some paintings for a deadline. And everyone's just kind of like, what's next, Jess? Meet Danny, though. Danny runs a bar full of Bulldog fans. That's a hockey team that is in the middle of the worst losing streak in team history. Jess is avoiding her work, so she's going to go to a friend's company Christmas party. But on her way, she sees Danny walking into a bar eating snow, and so she decides, I should go talk to him because I like eating snow too. They hit it off at the bar thanks to jokes about his dead dad and overall charm. She starts sketching on a coaster a picture of him and signs her name, and that's it. But thanks to the power of Google, Danny is able to look her up using her name because he can't get her out of his head, and finds out that she's a pretty well-known artist. So he shoots his shot and slides into her DM, inviting her to go with him, inviting her to go with him to a hockey game. But she doesn't know jack diddly squat about hockey. But she says yes anyway, and they meet up and are having an absolute blast. Now here's the situation: the game is tied with 40 seconds left, and the Bulldogs call timeout. And so this is the perfect time for the Kiss Cam. That's exactly right. The crowd is going nuts. We love the Kiss Cam, and the Kiss Cam goes on Jess and Danny, and they decide to go for it and kiss big ones. Right after that, the Bulldogs shoot. They score. Losing streak busted, wow. Dan. Can you believe that?
I can't.
They agree that they should do it again soon, but when he can't sleep, he decides to look at her Instagram some more and finds a video of her talking about her fiance. And after some more digging, he finds out that her fiance died 2 years ago, and he was amazing, way better than he'll ever be, and was super established and has a building named after him. So he's feeling pretty good about himself. They end up going on another date at a fancy restaurant surrounded by her art, and he opens up about his life and how he's had death in his family, thinking that would let her open up, but she's a lot more reserved. They then go to another hockey game. They are put on the kiss cam again. They kiss. The Bulldogs win. They are going to have to do this every day for the rest of their lives. They end up going to every game, kissing, winning, kissing, winning. Plus, they're hanging out a ton in between games somehow. And they really start liking each other. But she's still not opening out about her dead fiance, and he's really starting to get bothered by that. And because he's basically told her everything about himself, and also compared to her dead fiance, he's a bit of a loser. Am I right, guys? It looks like she's about to tell him why the holidays are so hard for her, but she does not. She ends up right up against her deadline. So she calls Danny and is like, "Hey, I can't go to the hockey game because I got a big deadline." Uncle's not having it, so Uncle takes Danny's phone, texts her, "Hey, got an emergency down here at the bar. You got to come ASAP." When she shows up and it is not an emergency, she is so mad that she goes home and paints her heart out for the first time in forever. The next day, she finally comes clean to Danny about her fiance, but Danny doesn't come clean that he already knew about the fiance and that he's been Googling her every day for the past month. So to help show her that he did actually know and that everything is okay, he decides the best course of action is to take her to the building named after her dead fiance. And she's like, "WTF, bro," and leaves. The Bulldogs are now on a losing streak thanks to the two of them not going to hockey games anymore. No more kissing, no more winning. Some time passes and Danny helps find a buyer for all of her new art, which was great. So she takes some time, she's processing everything that's happened, and she goes to find Danny. They hash some things out, and she just says that she needs time. She can't dive into anything right now. He decides that he's going to go to the game anyway, because if they win, they go to the playoffs. So it's a pretty big game. Yeah. So she's listening to the game on the radio, and luckily for her and everybody, the radio people say, "Hey, the Kiss guy just walked in here." So she's like, "Oh man, he's at the game. This is wild." So she decides that she's going to go for it, shows up at the game. They kiss big ones on the kiss cam. The Bulldogs win and go to the playoffs. Yeah! And then she surprises him with by changing the name of his bar and giving him new coasters and logos. And that, my friends, was Merry Kiss Cam.
We did it.
We did do it. We're going to take a quick break, and we are going to come back and break this down with 4 segments here on Deck the Hallmark. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about Merry Kiss Cam from 2022 on the Hulu. And we're going to break this down with 4 segments. We're going to start with a hot take, and I'm going to start off with, for my money,
for your money,
the hottest taker around.
Wow.
Alonso, what do you think?
You throw that around all the time.
I know.
So your money isn't worth much, but I would agree with you here.
Yes.
Of course.
In this case, the money is worth, I don't know. Alonso, what do you think of this movie?
Kick rocks, Brian. This is such a mixed bag because I really like the cast. I think the script is so good for so long until it isn't. I love the Duluthiness of it all. But at the same time, it's the kind of thing where, like, for most of the movie, I thought, oh man, this script and these actors, but with a bigger budget, you would really be onto something. And then it gets kind of tied up in stuff that's dumb, and that kind of derails it a bit. But I think, like, maybe another couple of passes at that script, these same performers, there's a lot to like here. And so, like, it's not a complete success, but there are pieces that really work, starting with and definitely focusing on, like, the 2 leads are terrific. Jesse Bradford, real actor, kind of cool to see him in one of these. And I think the leading lady is great too. I've never seen her before, but I like the fact that she is, compared to the average American television actress, maybe, somewhat plus size, but still, like, completely luminous and a great romantic partner for the male lead, and so there's a lot to like here. It's not a complete success, but there's a lot to like.
Alonso, Katie Lowe's, I believe is how you say her name, the leading actress. I was like, why hasn't she been in more of these movies? And it turns out she was in 128 episodes of Scandal. So like for 6 years,
that's what she was doing.
She was doing Scandal around the clock, and she did voice work. Does a lot of voices, a lot of animated stuff. But now she's been in one other Christmas movie I'd never seen, but I get the feeling she might be in some more of them now. FYI.
Cool. Great.
After last week's fiasco, I am thrilled to say that I agree with Alonso 100%. This movie started and we're going through it, and I'm like, this one might be one of my favorites of the year.
Yep.
And then we get towards the middle of this movie, and the stuff with the fiance and like that stuff, it just got a little too sticky. Like it just felt like we couldn't get out of it. And I was like, I just want to it's like when you're taking a sweater off and like somehow your head is stuck and you're just like, I just want to get out of this thing. That's how I felt. I was just
I feel like you've been in this situation a lot.
My head's ginormous. This might be a me thing.
I feel you.
I just felt like we couldn't get past it. It just felt like we were in it for a long time, and that was unfortunate because the movie starts off with a bang, and it is funny, and these two leads have so much chemistry and are just fantastic. But unfortunately, the fiance stuff just didn't land, nor did I feel like it helped move it along. It really felt like it held things back, and so. But I love the using the kiss cam, and then hey, we got to keep doing this or the team's gonna lose. Like that's really fun. It was really a fun plot point. So really, really good. I just wish I wish the fiance thing wasn't as big of a deal as they made it in this movie. I just wish it would have happened and they would have talked about it and then moved on. But unfortunately that didn't happen. Dano?
Yeah, similar thoughts to these two guys, but I'm going to be a little bit more critical and not as kind. The movie starts off very, very strong. Katie Lowe's, Jesse Bradford, both wonderful. I even wrote down the writers, Maya Boudreau and Evan Watkins, who have never written a movie before, ever. Not as far as credited on IMDb. And
Who's editing
the script, I want to know. The script in the first 15 minutes of this movie is like crackling, like really good, funny. I laughed out loud several times. And then all of a sudden, the wheels start to wobble and you're like, okay, this is still a funny idea. They can get it back together. And it just kind of devolves into like, bless kind, right? By the end of this thing, it's like they've not put any attention into the sports side of it. They've not put any attention into anything other than this terrible fiance subplot. People are acting in ways they just, these characters wouldn't act. And it's unfortunate because I think the first 15 minutes of this movie, I think we were watching, we were all kind of thinking, is this like the secret gem of the Hulu season here? Like it looks and sounds and feels really great. And then the next hour just slowly, gets us down to terrible. By the end of this movie, I was so ready for it to be over, and I hated that because I loved the leads and I thought the writing was there, but it doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up even halfway through it, and so that was unfortunate. And so for me, it's a hard pass, even though the first 15 minutes showed a lot of promise, and so that's unfortunate.
It's time for all the feels. It's where we talk about what this movie gave us as feels. Alonso.
I had a bunch and sort of scattered throughout. I think there are funny lines throughout the film. I mean, the gallery boss lady, I'm not laughing. I thought that was really great. I like the fact that, and this is just sort of, again, how I've been beaten down by other movies of this ilk, like the fact that, they go to the schmancy restaurant where her paintings are hung, and it's not portrayed as this like awful, hellscape with, tiny portions. It's just a nice restaurant, and they don't have to feel guilty about it. The idea that usually in one of these movies, like, she's got a party to plan, or she's got this big thing to accomplish, and yet somehow she's just distracting herself with all this other ancillary stuff. And here it's like, no, she's actively procrastinating. So it makes sense that she's looking for other stuff to do. I will say one of the weaknesses of this film, though, it's barely Christmassy.
Yeah.
Like it feels like they came up with this romantic comedy idea.
Soundtrack is great.
Christmassy.
Soundtrack, sure, yeah. But like I think like he came with a sports rom-com, and then it was like we could also make it Christmas, I guess, but it's kind of at an angle. But consistently funny, things I didn't see coming, the Star is Born joke and stuff. And the two of them, I thought they were quite lovely together. Even the fact that like the kind of eccentric art people also wind up being eccentric hockey people, like didn't see that coming. So just
not real.
Look, it kept me on my toes.
Yeah, I love it.
One of my favorite things is when there is a kiss relatively early on in the movie that's like a surprise kiss that you can tell like they were surprised by it, and the chemist, like what they felt. The first kiss cam kiss I loved it. And like you can see like the surprise on their face by like, whoa, the chemistry here is real. I love that, and it worked. It worked. Dano?
I was talked into telling the story. I wasn't going to tell it, but I'm going to tell the story. There's a scene in this film where
interesting place to put this, but
she is texted to come down to the bar. There's an emergency, and there is no emergency. The uncle's trying to get them together, and it makes her really, really angry. And I was so angry for her because when I was in high school, I'm a huge Miami Dolphins fan, something that most people don't know because the Dolphins aren't very good. I haven't been for a long time. I was talking with a girl when I was in high school. We weren't dating, but we were talking. And she had to babysit some kids their dad was our teacher. And I knew the kids. I knew whatever. Not important. The Dolphins were in the playoffs. And she called me and was like, these kids are like crazy. Can you please come and help me? And I'm a senior in high school. And she's like, I really need your help. And in my head, I'm like, this is crazy. Like these kids are not bad kids. And the Dolphins playoff game's about to start. And I was like, okay. So I go over.
You must have really liked her, man. I wouldn't have.
That's the thing is that I was just trying to be a nice guy.
Nah, man.
Listen. Well, I can tell you what I didn't like afterwards is I drove all the way from Spartanburg to Simpsonville, and she was lying to me. She did not need help with those kids. They were fine. And she thought it was funny when I got there. And you know what? You think that story's something. You ready for this? The Dolphins won. They've not won a playoff game since.
It's because you weren't watching.
Since that game, since the game where I was lied to drive across town for no good reason. The Dolphins.
How long's it been?
23 years. They've not won a playoff game. And I didn't realize that until watching this movie. And I was like, that game was in this blah, blah, blah. They played the Colts and they lost to the Raiders. And I looked it up and I was like, that's the last one they won. Are you kidding me right now?
If I've learned anything from Mary Kiss Cam, they would win playoff games if people would keep lying to Daniel and keep forcing him to not watch the game.
Unbelievable.
Did you guys kiss?
No. We did not.
I was insult to injury, man.
Can I tell you something? I was so mad that I was lied to. I was kind. I stayed around. And then as soon as the teacher got home, I left and we weren't talking anymore. Just letting you know right now. That was it. It was done. You don't lie to me. Are you kidding me right now?
Then
met my wife 3 months later. So it worked out. Everybody's fine.
What is wild though is that the Dolphins will not win until you two make up. You have to hash this out or they're not going to win.
Not worth it. I don't hold a grudge. I've not lost any sleep over it, but no thank you.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Haven't won it 23 years, guys. Come on.
We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. Dan will be better on the other side of this break. Here on Deck the Hall Break. Welcome back to therapy. It's your good friends, Brandon, Alonso. We're talking about Mary Kiss Cam from the Hulu 2022. Let's get to the wait what's where we talk about what in this movie. Let's go wait what, and I'll start with you, Alonso.
Oh, well, like somebody gets upset and then marries the next person they go out with. Oh, wait, no, sorry. That's Daniel. Never mind. Let's see. I wrote title comes last. What does that even mean? I'm so jet lagged right now.
Title comes last, though. You're so right.
They're so classic.
I don't even know what I'm talking about. Okay, so she is the whole plot here is that she isn't ready to talk about her fiance, and she thinks she's keeping it a secret, but it's on her Instagram page.
Yeah.
Like, does she genuinely not think that, okay, maybe you don't assume somebody you've just started dating is going to Google you, although I think in this day and age you would, but also they didn't scroll down your own Instagram to the stuff that you've made public to the world?
It's the glaring what of this movie. The idea that she thinks he doesn't know about the fiance and then gets mad when he does. I mean, he's a creeper for the way he handles it, and we'll get there, but come on, you put a video of you speaking about it on your Instagram. He doesn't have to intuit anything. Like,
exactly. Yeah. She makes it sound like, oh my God, what did you stalk me or things like? No, it's
like the sixth
social
one down.
media works.
I wasn't even like years in the past. It was just like the sixth post.
It's in your top grid thing.
Anytime somebody knows me from Deck the Hallmark, I'm like, oh, okay, stalker much. That's private information. You're not supposed to know that.
Oh, man.
That's really the main thing. I mean, otherwise, like with this movie makes sense within the parameters of itself, I think. But that's just the one giant glaring thing that she's weird about it. He's kind of weird about it as well. And then, like Brand said, it just eats up way too much of the movie.
You mentioned that this movie could do with a bit more budget, and I agree with that, because when we find out about 15 minutes into this movie that we are all this excited about college hockey, I am just baffled, because I don't know anyone that is that excited about college.
We don't live in the North.
I know we don't live in the North. The Frozen Four maybe is just wild up there.
Boston College had a good hockey team for a while.
They're
Minnesota,
going nuts about this college hockey team. And then they have the nerve to go into this arena and that is surrounded by bleachers, that is 3 rows, and go, man, these are good seats.
This is where people,
there's not a bad seat in the house.
This is where people practice figure skating. This is a $30 a month BYO skates situation, and they put bleachers around it and we're like, welcome to the big arena with a camera and a kiss cam and an announcer and TV. Get out of here.
Well, and on top of that, like, you would think that once the team starts winning, that the stands would get more full.
No,
they do not.
No, they do not.
Yeah.
But it's hard when there's only 50 people there. Like,
True.
You're going to be on the kiss cam every other week.
I'm also impressed by this, like, assigned seated bleachers system that they have. They all know exactly where to go, but they're bleachers without any real like separation.
We're taking a lot of mine right now, but this guy has been, those seats are like, have been passed down generations. those bleacher seats, 4 out of 5 rows up, they are 1 row from the back row. So 4 out of 5 rows up have been passed down for at least 2 generations.
That's the Zamboni legacy section.
That's right, the Zamboni legacy section.
That's exactly right. Dana?
Saw him live.
There is no world where any sports team is doing a kiss cam with 40 seconds left in a tie game. Kiss cam is a classic first half, early in the baseball game, whatever the sport is. It's not crunch time material.
Yeah.
Because you got real fans.
Yeah,
you're real mad.
You have 40 seconds left. You're spending that whole time out shooting T-shirts from cannons, hyping up the crowd. You're not like, hey, let's kiss.
No. And then we come to find out they televise the kiss cam. So, like, I don't know if you know this, that stuff happens during commercial breaks. So, like, that is going on at the stadium while you're watching an advertisement. But somehow, for this college hockey team with a 50-seat arena, they televise the kiss cam.
Yeah.
In Duluth, Minnesota.
Aaron brought up a good point. Maybe it's public access.
Maybe they're on public access.
That's the only explanation. It's a direct link in.
It's even more embarrassing for the fandom of that team, I feel like. At one point...
turn it to channel 13.3 now.
Bro, I know that she hasn't told you about the fiance, but maybe don't surprise her by taking her to his building.
My gosh, man.
Maybe read the room, use the last shred of common sense you have and go, no, No, that's a bad idea. Do not bring this woman to the building named after the dead love of her life. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. No. If you've been dating 8 years, don't do it. That is the most absurd. The only way you walk in that building is if she asks you to go in that building. Period.
Well, he was going to exhume the corpse, and then he thought, let me dial it back a little.
He's like, hey, I got this whole weekend at Bernie's plan. It's going to be awesome. Picasso said, and then he decided maybe not. Maybe that's a little bit off key. Maybe she won't appreciate that. All the sports of this movie, we could just talk about all day because they're on the longest losing streak in their team's history. But yet all the teams are within one game of each other in the standings, which means at some point all year, everybody had a bad losing streak, I guess.
Everybody did.
To each other.
Yeah, which is wild to me. In general, that's a very hard thing to do with all of those teams being in their division separated by one game. And then lastly, which I can't believe you didn't bring up, the uncle says the word technically and then just never finishes his sentence. He's like, technically, and then he just stops. He's just like, I don't need to do any more here. I feel like I've done what I came here to do, and that's technically. And that's it, and we're out of here. That's all I got.
It's time for
What's up?
Hulu.
Oh, no, it's Hulu.
Hulu, you didn't? Or
no.
Whatever. You guys know what it is.
Lose yourself in the moment.
Okay, there you go. Alonso, what are you still wondering about?
Well, first off, I forgot to mention the fact that when they parade various couples in front of the kiss cam, we get several same-sex ones, which is great. Everybody's white, but it is Duluth, and I don't know Duluth well enough to know if that's accurate or not, but I'll let you guys hash that out at the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce. My Who Lose Yourself is so much of this movie is spent with him trying to figure out a way to bring up the fiance or wait for her to mention the fiance. And so I think they've pretty much clearly established what the sequel is going to be, which is going to be him sort of trying to figure out how he's going to tell her that he can't stand her paintings. I think it just writes itself.
I love it. I love that.
Mine is pretty simple. This movie ends with a kiss that sends the Bulldogs to the playoffs, and that's it. We don't know what happens in the playoffs. Does their kissing continue, their streak of winning? I imagine they're going to keep going for the playoffs. How's it work out for them? Do you know?
Also, are there never away games?
No, there's not.
Yeah, the sports in this movie doesn't hold up in the slightest. Like Hallmark takes a much better angle at baseball movies than this movie does.
Yeah,
which is wild because they get the they get the people in this bar really right. I feel like, but then it comes to hockey, it's like they just didn't have the budget or didn't have the ability.
Is yours at all the schedule by any chance?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
the
go
schedule.
ahead.
Yeah. How many, I looked, the University of Minnesota hockey team, how many games did they play in December? If you guessed any number higher than 4, you'd be wrong. How many games did they play in between December 10th and New Year's? If you guessed any number that wasn't 0, you would be wrong. Guys, kids go on Christmas break. You don't have what I believe is 8 games the week of Christmas that are all home games. That's not how hockey works.
Do they have a bowl?
Yeah, I can't imagine. This is a situation where, hockey doesn't require any physical recovery time. Your body checking people and bruised and everything. And it's like, we're playing the next night. We got back-to-backs this week. It's crazy.
Well, I want to piggyback on that real quick. Dave White will give you a tight 10 about how art galleries also don't have new shows going up at Christmas time.
No,
I'm sure.
No.
The timeline of this was definitely I guess it can be Christmas movie because if not, then it just makes no sense. Because the fact that there are so many hockey games at the beginning of this movie, there are people in this bar wearing Christmas sweaters. So it's clearly at least December, right? It's after Thanksgiving. So they are going hard up there with the Bulldogs.
It almost works better as a winter movie.
Yeah.
If you just let it go through January, it probably works better. So there's that.
Bold. That's a bold move. Next week, we're heading back to Max for Holiday Harmony. Holiday Harmony.
Okay.
And then we only have one more movie before we get some scaries.
It's
coming, folks. It's coming. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching us on The Filer. We're going to be back tomorrow with another one. Until then, may we be the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast. Is produced by Aaron Shea. What? For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.